Can you see me?
Yes, sir.
Hi.
Hi, how are you, sir? Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I am good, sir. I am good, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for coming along. I know that there were certain changes at the last moment and there were certain problems, but you made it along. That's so insightful, and thank you so much for that. Yesterday, it's like we have a phenomenal audience coming in and gracing the audience, gracing our aura. This live recording, so this thing is recorded and shown live in 15 of the co-working spaces in nation.
Okay.
uh, it's like there were yesterday there were 10,000 people seeing a single session and gracing the event.
Okay.
uh, Telling about media mantra, sir, I found out from one of my clients. He, and you know what he told me, sir.
What?
It's one of the best PR agencies coming in the world.
Okay.
So, and that's
That's
how that's
it's
how
always it's always good to hear this from the client side, right? When people, when your clients talk about the brand, about you, right? That's what you aspire to do when you start, right? So I think that's an achievement which the entire team and my partner has put in.
exactly, sir. And so I started my entrepreneurial journey as a startup, but till then I didn't know the power of public relations.
Okay.
I thought, public relations, I think I will spend on digital marketing. And that's something which I made the mistake. Only once there was my article into almost 3 4 newspapers, uh, video channels and all those things. But it made me what I am right now. I work with Prime Minister. I got a call from Prime Minister Narendra Modi assistant saying that they want to establish a Namo merchandise, and why don't we start together?
Oh,
Just
now.
from the public relations. When
Brilliant.
Donald Trump came along, so I was the gifting partner for Donald Trump.
Wow. Okay.
Uh, same PR. So I started doing PR now and then. When Jeff Bezos came along in India, I was the one who did gifting for Jeff Bezos. So PR is a certain a very good effect which a entrepreneur or which a startup doesn't understand. Starting with you, sir, it's like you are the brain behind Media Mantra, a fastest growing India independent public relation firm. uh, you started with India Today group as a guest coordinator, and later exercised his skill in a few prominent public relation firm like Value 360.
Yeah.
One of your best campaigns which everyone knows is Snapdeal Nagar, a campaign for Snapdeal. uh, Thank you for coming along. I think this half an hour session will give a lot of hope, which we tell a gift of hope to millions of people watching around. Thank you so much.
Pleasure, Chaitanya.
So the first thing we want to know is how was your journey? Because public relation is something no one thinks, अगर अगर मैं गुजरात की बात करूं, आई डोंट नो अबाउट एनीवन एल्स. सो मेरा बेटा बड़ा होके एचआर बनेगा या सेल्स करेगा, राइट? And I want to know your journey in public relations. How you started, and how did you make this big?
Okay. So Chaitanya, as you rightly said, I started with India Today. As a guest coordinator, realized the potential of PR there, realized the potential of communication there. Because when you were doing guest coordination, I was actually talking to a lot of PR firms and coordinating guests to be a part of the panels, right? And that at that particular time, when I was starting a fresher, I remember a fact that when I was coordinating with one of the guest coordinators for a sports show, and it was one of a dream come true because Kapil Dev came to the show, right? So I was talking to his PR manager, and I realized that it was PR guys who were actually making the lives of celebrities easy. It were PR guys who were making the communications for brands, not only celebrities, easy, right? That's when I realized how important public relation as a domain could be. And I'm talking about almost what 13, 14 years, for 15 years back, right? At that particular time of, but that particular time, public relation was also evolving. Now PR is very, very different. At that point, PR was very different, right? Then I said, okay, probably let me try my luck with public relations as well. And then I have, I called few guys, I called my network, and fortunately, I found a job in one of the PR firms. And then I started my public relations journey, and I realized quickly that startups were growing in our country, and I realized quickly that they would require communication a lot, because their main objectives at that particular period of time was to raise funds. And today also, startups wants to raise funds quickly so that they can explore the market as well. So I realized, and I met my wife there in the firm. We got married, and then opened Media Mantra. And I must say the journey has been fantabulous. Touchwood, God has been kind. We signed up. We were from day one. We were profitable.
Wow.
We signed up. I think our first 10 clients in first month. That was a huge push which we got. And these 10 clients, I would not say they all were brands. They were enough for us to feed ourselves, and they were enough for us to feed our team. Right? That's how you start. You don't want to go out and say that I will only work with brands. Right? A brand is a part of your journey. Brand will come into the system, but what you were confident at that particular period of time was the work, right? And that's what we did. We were confident about our work. We were confident about building a very strong public relation firms in startup segment, and we did that. We've been awarded as one of the specialist PR firm for startups. We are a mid-sized PR firm currently. So I must say that God has been kind, and the journey has been fantabulous. We have been working really hard, and even this period of time when things were really difficult, back 6 months back, when lockdown happened and everything started, there were a lot of negative sentiments which started coming in. Brands started reaching out to us and say that they want to hold on the PR campaigns, because all were focusing more on what do you say, cash bachana. They were focusing more on that. So, but ultimately, what happened was, I was also surprised with the maturity brand showed towards communication. Right? They realized the power of communication at this particular period of time more than ever. The way communication industry as a whole has worked during these 6 months, I've never seen in my entire career. My career is small, but I haven't seen in my entire careers the communication industry working like this before. We are so very well connected with each other as an industry. We are so very well connected as an organization with each other, that today anything, if you have seen the pandemic, right, you can solve anything. If you're able to sail through this, you can solve any sort of stuff. So I think the journey is fantabulous. We have, especially during the past 6 months, I have learned a lot. I have unlearned a lot of things which I thought, personally speaking, I have sat and I have done digital media courses myself online, which I could have
Wow.
never done while running my own office before. So I think I've learned a lot, and also as an entrepreneur, learned a lot many things in terms of the accounts, right? How are you making sure that your people stay with you, and yet not fire, and yet they don't feel uncomfortable, right? That is very, very important. So as an organization, we came out that we will not fire people. We were down with our revenues for at least 35%, I think around 35 to 37%. But then we realized that there were no there were no problems which not problems, there were no reasons to fire people, right? Because ultimately they were doing their own work. Suddenly the lockdown came in, suddenly these things happen. What's the point of firing them? But since our agenda was always to be profitable from day one, and as I said, we were profitable for day one. We rely on our cash, and we came out of the situation as well. So far, so good. So it's been good, a good journey, learning a lot of things every day. That's what entrepreneurs should do, I think.
That's so great, sir. That's so great. It's a personal question for me. So, if I am a startup, I think that the public relation is not my first priority, right? So, when you dive into the business, I think that the communication to the outer world makes the one of the most impactful things which we have to do, right? So
Yes.
I think when I wanted to do a public relation, PR activities, and I wanted to showcase my brand. So I am into corporate gifting. So I wanted to showcase my brand into the corporate eyes as a similar brand for the innovative gifting solutions. But I got a very rude comment by one of the incubators of Gujarat telling me that PR is for the big companies, small companies and the startups doesn't do that.
Hmm.
And I wanted to throw a light some of that points because I think that the public relation is more needed in startups and not the bigger organization.
Yeah, so I think Chaitanya, it's PR is just not about media coverage. That's what
Yeah.
I was saying. It's gone are those days where you just focus on media coverage. It's about communication. It's about solving your business objectives, right? So, for example, your business objective today is to reach to to reach to your corporates, right? So, how are you solving that? And you are solving it via communicating with them because you have to still reach to them. How will you do that? Via social media, via traditional media, via online media, right? So and you design strategies behind it. You design, so there is a macro goal for an organization, right? And you have to reach to that macro goal, right? And according to that, you have to design your micro objectives as well. And in your micro objectives comes your PR and communication also, right? So you need to fix up your communication objectives and align your communication objectives with your business goals, and then only you will think PR would play a very, very vital role. Because if you keep thinking that PR is just about media coverage and spending, then it will not make sense to you, because you would say that you are retaining a firm, you are doing the same stuff every now and then. But the moment you realize that PR is about solving your business objective, the moment you realize that you want to reach to, for example, you want to reach to DLF, and you want, I'm just giving a hypothetical situation. You want to reach to DLF and you want your DLF to use your gift. How would you do that? You want to make sure that there are media articles in real estate magazines, people who read it. There are media articles. There are social media campaigns which run, specially dedicatedly on this particular industry. So these are some small examples, but there are bigger stuff as well which happens. And more than this, there is also something called as crisis management, wherein you talk about big corporates. They also need a support in crisis management. They also need a support in internal communication also. So public relation as a whole is supporting internally as well, right? As an industry, we also have corporate communication teams who takes care of their internal communication and design the entire communication for a corporate with the help of a PR firm. So they both work closely. So I think as a startup, if startup starts thinking it's an expense, it's not an expense. It's an investment which you do. It's how you are building up a brand. And from day one, you look at any startup which has been successful. From early days, they've been using PR. You talk about Flipkart, you talk about Snapdeal, you talk about Paytms of the world, you talk about Voila.coms of the world. They are successful. Modality Communications, they're successful startups, and they've been using PR from day one. And look at Byju's of the world. Look at how they've built up a brand, right?
Yeah.
It's Of course the funding plays an important role of building up a brand, but then public relations, communication also played an important role. So what is very, very important is realize the potential of communication, and that is what as an industry we should do. And there is another thing, and which I want to talk here, is that we represent, as public relation firms, there is a body called as PRCEI, Public Relation Consultancy Association of India, right? We take care, we go down to tier 2 and tier 3 cities also, to make sure that we talk about communication, because a lot of people, there are a lot of bigger brands there also, right? So we want to go down to tier 2, tier 3 cities and do a lot of conferences there, and make them understand and realize the importance of public relations and communication as a whole.
Wow, that's so great. So if a company, if someone wants to pursue a career in PR relations, right? So what would you suggest to them? So there would be people seeing who wants to pursue a PR industry. So how should they go forward?
I think public relation is all about knowledge. Public relation is all about reading. It's all about communicating. So first and foremost, very important, before going to any school, any college or something, you should be abreast with what is happening around the world, right? If I am talking, you can throw me any question at any given point of time as a brand. I should be attentive and I should be knowledgeable to answer that back. That can only happen with experience, yes, but that can also happen. I've seen my executives, I've seen my younger lot who are like 23, 24, making a lot of sense and talking about stuff which is happening right now. Because why are they doing it? Because they're reading, they're writing, they are knowledgeable, right? So for students also today, it is very important to have these three skills and enter a college with no expectations. Only expectation is to learn, right? Don't enter a college or don't look at any degree with keeping in mind placements, because placements will come if you are talented person. Because in our industry there is a lack of talent. If you are talented, if there are people who are intelligent, there are companies who will still absorb them, right? So I think learn, read, keep abreast with what is happening. Three most important things.
Sir, extending to that point, advice to a 21-year-old person to succeed in their life.
To succeed in the life,
Yeah, so it's a life topic now.
yeah. So the only advice is hard work, right?
Wow.
Be humble of what you are. So I've seen I would not say myself very old, I'm still young, but then whatever journey I have had so far in the past 15, 17 years of my life, I've been brought up in a business family. I've seen luxury, I've seen everything behind. But then what was very important, my parents taught me only one thing: to stay humble, right? You are lucky to be born in a family who could afford everything, but there are people who are not lucky enough like you. So what is important for a person to understand today is, uh, you know be humble, stay grounded. If you are not that, you will not be able to succeed. Because and it's honestly, I'm saying, I'm being very candid right now. I've seen people coming and joining my office without naming anyone, and without telling the backgrounds. I've seen a person whose father was really really of high, she came from a very good background with proper luxury in her life. I'm telling this. She used to commute via metro, right? And this just brings, and she could have afforded a driver with a proper car. And a car, I'm not talking about a Honda City, I'm not talking about an Alto. She could have had an Audi also coming to my office, but she chose, or probably her upbringing was to, like that she came via metro and then in an auto to reach my office. So that
Wow.
shows how a person is, right? So it's about how are you building from day one, right from your childhood days. So nothing will change when you are 21. The changes happen before that. What's the upbringing? If today I've been living a life in a first class bungalow and everything, and I don't want to move out of my house, my servants will serve me food, water, and then I expect my guy to come at 21 and say that, "Okay, go and bring water." He will never do that, right? So it's about upbringing as well. So my only advice is stay humble and keep doing the hard work. I've been doing the hard work from a long time, and hard work always pays. uh, Hard work will never go, and with hard work you also learn a lot of things, and more you learn, more knowledgeable you become, and you can give knowledge to others as well.
Sir, Media Mantra is now considered as the one of the fastest growing companies in PR.
Yeah.
Where do you see Media Mantra position themselves in the 5 years, 10 years down the line?
See, 5 years, and if things goes as per my plan, and God is kind enough, because I always say this line in internal meetings also. I think God plays a very very important role despite your hard work, right? 1% fortune brings a lot of things. So I think if everything goes as per our plan, next 5 years we should be. I'm talking about independent firms. We should be at least in top three independent PR firms. Top
Wow.
three. I would not say top one. Top one I cannot. Ad Factors is humongous. We can't touch Ad Factors. But then there are other firms which I believe we can probably reach at that level or somewhere closer to them.
Yeah, it's like, I had a chance to talk to Sir Madan Behel sir and the Rajesh Chaturvedi sir.
Yeah,
Uh,
they
I
are
talked to,
gurus.
huh?
They are gurus of PR industry. Yeah, and people like us look up to them as an inspiration for us.
So I talked to him. So I told him, so I am inviting the top 10 PR industries. So you know that the the turnover of ours is the cumulative of second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the PR industry.
yeah. So, but
It's
then he's done his artwork. He's seen his journey. You started 30 years back also. So there's
yeah.
difference.
So thank you, sir, for coming along. It's the 6:30 time. We will just. It's like now at 7. If you can come along, we have Prahlad Kakkar sir coming. Uh, I know him a lot, so it's like he is like an inspiration to me. He is like, he motivated कि क्या होता है, बड़े लोग नहीं आ रहे ना, छोटे लोगों से करो. And that was the time where Gift of Hope started. You may believe that this is done in 10 days. The Gift of Hope whole huge event where we had peoples coming on from across world, the big entrepreneurs like Vellu Mani sir, and
Yeah.
people coming from Oxford University. He was one of the driving force of this.
Oh, nice.
And sir, last thing I wanted to address is some startups. I think 100% there would be many startups seeing to this event, and they want to have their PR done and have their things done. So can you just let us know your email ID where they can shoot the inquiries about what's to be done in PR?
Yeah, it's UDIT Udit at Media Mantra MEDIAMANTRA.net.
Perfect, sir. I am doing one. So I am calling you and I'm telling you that I need to sort my PR.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you
Happy
so
to
much,
help.
sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks,
Thank you so much.
Chaitanya. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye bye, sir. Bye. So now we have the man of the hour, Prahlad Kakkar sir would be joining at a 7. We can't wait to invite him to a masterclass session. It's just the 30 minutes time. Make sure you have your coffee and tea done. Let's meet at 7.